Hey y'all, what's going on? I'm Eka. It's time for another tutorial, and today we're gonna show off and mess with AR filters in Spark AR Studio. I'll have the download links in the comments below, in the description below. Okay, so what do we got here? So we released this filter for Falcon Age. It's a game that we've been working on. It's coming out for Oculus Quest. This bird model is straight out of the game, so we just imported it in. Essentially, what you can do is you can bring in models, 3D models of any kind, and have it track on your face, parts of your face, have it react to smiles. I think I have a mouth open set up, so I can do fist bump? Nope, sometimes. There we go. All right. And then, so this window shows it's a simulation of what it would look like on a different device. So we're looking at iPhone 8. Let's look at iPhone 10. Let's get the proper resolution and aspect ratio. Let's turn on Simulate Touch with this little menu up here. With that, and for this app, I've set up several buttons. So we have top button for switching between outfits, and then this button here for a toy, nunchucks. I like this one, where we have monocle on the bird and on yourself too. All right. This is the first time I've built anything with AR Studio or Spark AR, and there's no code involved. It's all visual scripting, and this is the spaghetti mess of how that all works. What we're going to do is we're going to start a fresh new project and show you how we get from 0 to something like this. Be right back. Alright, we're back. We're starting with a brand new scene in Spark AR Studio. And the first thing you'll notice is your 3D view here, your scene view, some assets, and properties. The thing you're going to want to start with is click on video. Here you can have, there's models and footage that Spark AR Studio comes with, so you can try different size heads and styles. You can also click on, depending on if you have a webcam or not, if you have it set up. I have a Canon set up, so there we go. We're turn that on and you get a preview of what the phone's going to see when you eventually export your filter. So the cool thing is you can set all this up here and here. You can file, export, upload and export a package and publish it on either Instagram filter or on Facebook. You can also, once you set up your account, test it. Send directly to your Instagram camera app or Facebook camera app. So the workflow is make a thing, send it to your phone, test it out, and that link you can send to other people to test before you publish it. All right, so we're going to try to make a version that's not the baby bird version, which is a little more complex and a lot more work. Want to do something that doesn't require any custom assets and free assets. It is going to require custom assets, but I want to make sure that's something y'all can have access to. So what I did was went to sketchfab.com, type in tag free. Let's do animal and pets. It's kind of the theme we've been working on. And I downloaded a Furby or a freebie. It's free. With animation. It's got an idle animation, but I don't think we're going to use it. But anyway, did that. The other thing we want to download is Spark AR has a couple of face reference assets for faces and heads, and we'll get into why that's important, but it essentially lets you mask out parts of models. If we're going to put a character on our head, we want to make sure that if you lean your head back that it gets masked out, and we'll get into that. So make sure you download that. It's called Face Reference Assets. Okay, so let's start. First thing we're going to do is going to import our freebie model. So, where was it? Source. So the version I downloaded off of Sketchfab, I brought it in initially and it looked wrong. So I had to open it up in Blender, open it up and save it, and this is the result. So we have a model. If you look up here, you have your camera, as you see in the scene, you have some lighting. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a face tracker, because that's what we want to do. We want to track things on our face, right? And we're going to add, before we can dump the Furby model right in there, but actually what we want to do is I like to add a null object, a parent object. That way we can play with offsets and different rotations separately from the actual model. Okay, so let's drag in Furby model. Now, it's already working. It's tracking our heads. You can see it's doing a bunch of stuff, but obviously it is a little big. All right, well, let's try 0.1. How's that look? Oh, it looks better. Okay, what we're going to do is offset our null object so it's over our head, roughly. That's good. Now remember I made a comment about those reference face assets. Let's bring those in. Import from computer. Where do I have those? Let me stop recording for a second. All right, let's get our head occluder model. We're going to bring that in to our face tracker. And there you go. This is an average size head. I think my head's a little bigger than the average, but I'm going to use that as a scale for reference. The best thing to do is try it out with different folks and see what works, but I found the default head occluder, which is part of the set of assets that comes with a Spark AR, is pretty decent. So what we want to do is move our null object over this so it looks like it's sitting on our head right about there. How's that? All right, cool. Now obviously we want to show the person's face, not this head. The other thing we want to do is add face mesh. See that? That is what's gonna be able. Well, it's gonna allow us to track facial features like mouth opening, smiling, eyes, and all sorts of things. So that does that go in front? Let's see. Yes, we want that. Okay. So that's. If we go back, looks like. See how Furby's feet is behind the head? That's good. So order matters in the hierarchy. The face is drawn first. The head, well, not drawn last, but the head's behind that, and the Furby model's on top of that. Okay, so we're going to add a material for our face first to make it invisible. And add material. We're going to call this occluder mat. And set the opacity to 0. Well, actually, let's set it to 100 and see what that looks like. Select our face first. Sorry. Face mesh. Hit the plus next to material, and we're going to choose occluder mat. And same thing with the head occluder model. Select, click down here, and then occluder mat. Now, of course, now it looks like there's gray. It's not invisible. That's because we need to change the opacity to 0. There we go. Okay, I was wrong. See how we can see Furby through our head? That looks weird, right? So we actually need to move the Furby model. I believe it's under here. that right? Oops, I just messed it up. Sorry, the null. Under there. There we go. So our head model is masking out the Furby model. That's what we want. All right, what's next? Now we're gonna put a material on the Furby so it doesn't look like default gray. All right, so let's add another material. We'll call it freebie. And we're gonna import in Furby's texture. Okay, got that in. And we're going to pick that texture from it. There we go. Now we need to assign that to that model. So you go into your hierarchy, select the mesh. Boom. There we go. Look at that. Okay. It's, it's functional. It does not do anything special, but it's on our head, it's tracking using a standard webcam, and you get a preview of it. Let's adjust the lighting so it doesn't look so dull. Let's bring that in directional light and ambient light a little bit so it gives it a little bit of a cartoony lit feel to it. Still directional, but there we go. Okay, now let's just make this more interesting. And to do that, we need to bring up the patch editor. That's this thing here. Patch editor is where we can add some control, some animation work, some scripting work to make this freebie character come to life. All right. So what can we start with? So let's add find face finder, and then we want to add our face tracker. Oh, that's right. When you bring that in, I forgot. When you bring the face tracker in, it'll bring a find face and select the face, and then gives you some options of what to do with the face. In this case, like it's rotation, it's face object, because you can have multiple face objects, I guess. So. All right, so let's try messing with the rotation of the Furby based on rotation of our head. So let's take null object. If you click this arrow down here into any of the properties that has it, it'll add it down here. So if we were to do this, slightly off now. Now the rotation of it is not the face tracker directly. Well, it is directly, but has a little offset. What we actually want to do is add an offset. So if you right click, let's type in delay function. Add that. We're going to connect the rotation into the delay and the output the delay into here. So let's do a super high delay, like 1 second. So that takes a lot longer, right? So if we do, let's do 0.3. So the rotation of the Furby is delayed by 0.3 of a second with our head. Oh, that's cool. It's a little interesting, right? All right, so we got a delay. We'll try to keep this simple. There's so many things you can do here. So let's add. Okay, let's add another delay on top of this to the ears. So let's go expand the Furby rig. It has bones in it, so if your model has bones, then you can manipulate them. Let's go to skeleton, mid. Let's take its head, ear left, and ear right. If you select both of those, click on rotation, they both get added. We don't want the same delay as the whole body. We want a slight more delay so it feels like it's lagging behind. So we're going to right click, add delay again. We're going to take the same 3D rotation, put into this delay, and let's add it 0.5. And output. To the left ear bone and the right ear bone. All right, what does that do? So the ears are more delayed than the body, which is delayed from my head tracking. That's cool. Could flop around a little bit, just a slight delay. Now you can make that less, right? So we can make this. This it doesn't. I don't know why that does that, but let's make it less. Yeah, that feels fine. I do want a little bit more. All right, next thing is let's have it respond to a face position. And there's different ways to do that, right? So there's a ton. If you right click, you'll get, there's tons of this options in here. Let's do mouth. We can do mouth open, which is a good one. So we want to react to mouth open and openness. That's one way you can do it. Or we could do smile, which kind of overlaps with it too. So on smile, we can have it do something, right? And it could be a bunch of things. Like enabling objects, disabling objects. So for example, I'm gonna add another asset in here. This is another thing I downloaded off of Sketchfab. Sketchfab. Sunglasses. We're gonna add the sunglasses to our face tracker. And of course the scale is gonna be all over the place depending on where the object was made and what scale. So let's try 10 on this. Okay, great. Let's manually, so I'm using E, R, or T to switch between move, rotation, and scale. So I actually want rotation. Do that, and we're gonna put this over our heads. Remember, we have those meshes because they're invisible right now. So if you start bringing this in, you'll see it start clipping on the mesh. But you want to get as close as you can to that mesh, so it tracks with your head. So this doesn't have any delay because it's not. It's going right under the face tracker. So it's just tracking your face. Let's add a material or texture. Excuse me. The texture is part of this Doge model, so. Add a material, sunglasses, and then the texture is going to be the Doge texture that has the sunglasses in it, and then on the sunglass mesh has a light component and a camera, which you don't need. And then there we go, this glass mesh. We're going to add sunglasses. There we go. Let's adjust this a little bit so it's centered. Okay. So it's not doing anything, it's just tracking. Our freebie Furby is doing its delayed rotation. So what we want to do is the visibility component on the sunglasses. I'm going to click on the little arrow, add it to the patch editor. When we're smiling, we want the sunglass to be visible. Oh, but this isn't hooked up to a face tracker yet. So we want the face to affect the smile. There we go. We're doing this very serious, and we're smiling big. or open mouth. I mean, the smile isn't super accurate, so open mouth works too. You know what? It's cool, but I think Furby needs a fairy too. So let's do that. So we're gonna Control D duplicate this. Find our Furby model. Furby rig. I'm gonna put on Furby's head. Boom, like that. Of course, Furby scale and our null scale objects are different, so it's gonna do this weird thing where the scale's off. Let's go to scale and 3D scale it up. Oh yeah, Furb. There we go. So much cooler. Now, because it's a new object, its visibility is default, so we're gonna add that. And use the same smile patch too. Oh yeah, there we go. Delay, 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 smile. Oh, there's some space in there. Now we could just finish there, call it a day, upload it, share it, make a cool filter out of it. What if we did one more thing? Okay. Well, we were trying to finish this tutorial, but then Darth wanted some attention. So close. Just gotta animate Furby next, right, Darla? You gonna help me animate Furby next? Good girl. Okay, here we go. All right. Now we're gonna finish off this tutorial with animating some reactions on the Furby model based on our smile or mouth open. So first thing we want to do is look at the bones in Furby. Look at them Furby bones. All right, let's grab. We want to do rotation on the mouth, for example. Yeah, how about like a mouth open close loop. So let's add right click animation or loop animation. Add that as pat. Let's see. What do we want to do? I'm looking at my reference real quick. Bear with me. All right, so we want to do loop animation with a transition. I can remember what it was called. Loop animation transition, and it's going to talk to one of the bones. So the transition has a start value and an end value, and then the loop animation will fire off a loop every whatever this duration is, right? So we're going to do a loop every second. Well, whatever that, we'll mess with that. And then fire a transition. So we need to tell the loop how to behave, and we need to tell the transition what to do. So we're going to use a smile again, enable, and you'll see a smile that gets enabled, and I don't smile, gets disabled. Okay, great. Now it needs to do something. So let's look at our Furby model. Head, mouth. Mouth top and mouth bottom. We're going to select both of these. We're going to do rotation. Click on the arrow there to add it to our patch. So let's see what happens here. Okay, so the start and end, that's 1 degree of rotation. So let's do like 60. Let's hide our bones here with a filter. Just get, okay, so You can see the mouth going in and out. So let's do 0.2. Okay, cool. So start, let's make it a -30. How's that feel? That's better. 60 is probably strong. Okay, so we got that. Let's do the same thing to the bottom mouth, see how that feels. That looks weird, right? Because we want the bottom to do the inverse of it. So let's add negate. Put that there and put that there. Should do the inverse. That pause is really a weird place. Okay, let's try this on the smile also. Let's do set. Would that work? Not quite. Okay, we'll delete that. Okay, so when you smile now, we have a Furby. That's his mouth moving. Now we can do a similar thing, right? With the eyes blinking, the ears going if we want it, or the little feet. It's what is rotational value or some other value. Same step, same idea is figuring out which bone you want to animate. Like this example, like the eyelid. Taking its rotation instead of manual values, and you're gonna take its rotation, have it controlled by a loop animation and transition, and you can keep adding on to this. Really, I don't want to make this super complicated, but this is essentially how we built the Falcon Age AR filter. We just went a little deeper than this, and if you want a part two, if people like this, I can go more into something that has pre-canned animation and how to hide unhide things, which we're already doing, but playing different animation controllers based on different inputs and UI buttons or mouth shapes. So I think we'll call this done. We have some basic AR model Furby with animation feedback with a delay, feedback on mouth open close, and object unhide on mouth open close. And the next thing you would do is send to your Instagram camera or Facebook camera to test, and then you're all set. Upload and export and publish it, which usually takes sometimes like a week, maybe longer, sometimes shorter, depending on what you're trying to do. All right. Hope that was useful. This is Spark AR Studio on how to animate a character and track it and add glasses to it and all sorts of things. Thanks again. Bye.